Want to know what gets me motivated to invest my time and energy into life extension? Firstly, I think about how amazing life is and how lucky I am to be alive. The odds of my existence were very small, but it happened and I love to exist. Then I think about all the great experiences I would miss out on if the cure for aging doesn't arrive in time for me. I think about all the things I would never learn, the places I would never see, and the people I would never meet. Thinking these thoughts, I start to get riled and angry. Then I think about how unfair it is that anyone be forced into a permanent state of non-existence, never to experience the joy of life ever again. As humans, existence is all we have. Consciousness is the only way we can interface with reality. If we don't cure aging, then we will die and get nothing, and life was pointless. So my biggest motivation of all is to reflect on how meaningless my life is if I eventually die and cease to exist. I tell myself that living forever physically is a must, and I don't give myself any other options or any consolation if I fail. I always remind myself of the extreme value of being alive. Being alive means that we have a chance to live forever, and that is what makes life worth living. It's time for the human race to be honest. I want religious people to admit that the afterlife is hypothetical, wishful thinking. And I want my fellow atheists to admit that life is meaningless if it ends with eternal oblivion. Therefore, everyone should be motivated to fight for life extension for the sake of their own self-preservation. What humanity really lacks is the instinct to survive, because we comfort ourselves with lies. Humanity is in denial. We cannot face the true horror of death, and we just pretend as if life has meaning, even though we get a big fat zero when it's all said and done. We grab the low-hanging fruit of symbolic immortality and pretend like everything is okay. Romance, patriotism, consumerism, religion, hedonism, art, all of this is just to distract us from the huge elephant in the room, death. Most people are much too willing to indulge in delusional thinking as a way to cope with their mortality. In his book, The Denial of Death, Ernest Becker hit the nail on the head. He figured out the underlying operating system of humanity, which is basically layers of socially constructed delusions to manage the terror of death and help people accept death. Our job is to wake people from this trance-like state. But it's hard because it's painful to wake up and admit that you're living in a nightmare headed towards oblivion. It's very hard for people to just be honest and admit how badly aging and death suck, because they don't want to feel threatened and afraid. But we need to feel these painful emotions if we're going to escape our tragic situation. To find the solution, we have to first admit the problem. We must forsake comfort and peace of mind and live without delusions. This is the only way to unleash the full power of the human survival instinct. Once enough of us admit that death is the ultimate enemy, then we can work to fix it.
There's a light ahead that shines into this grave that's in the end of all this pain. In the night ahead, there's a light.